Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel that talks about true crime stories and things that take place, whether weird, wacky, and sometimes good, throughout our country and sometimes around the world. And this one is particularly touching because it's about a young boy that something diabolical and heinous happened to. And it was all based on proximity and took place within his home. Many times we see all of the craziness, the chaos and disruption that's taking place outside the home in our communities and in our cities. But in many instances, there is just as much chaos and disorder within the confines of many people's homes. It can be just as crazy inside the home as opposed to outside, depending on what demonic and devilish forces in people that we let enter our homes. We have to be very careful. And sometimes we have to use our five senses and pay attention to everything that's taking place around us. And it's very important to protect our children and our women by any means possible, especially if you are an upstanding, positive man. And this is right out of Milwaukee. If you've been following me, I did a video yesterday about the heinous crime that took place against Mahogany Jackson in Birmingham, Alabama, where she was tortured and murdered, and it was videotaped. And this one is just as troubling. So for discretionary purposes, if you're under 21, you probably don't want to listen to this story, and I will try to temper it as much as possible. But this one is about a man and a teen that beat a 5-year-old boy to death in Milwaukee and hid his body in a dumpster. Criminal charges have been filed against two people in connection with the death of a 5-year-old boy found dead inside a dumpster in Milwaukee. Very sad. It's hard to even do this video, but I think it's very important to let people know in their busy lives that are not following national news or local news that you have to be very careful, and there are things that are taking place all the time. Officials have charged 27-year-old David Petura and a 15-year-old not named or pictured with the following: first-degree intentional homicide, physical abuse of a child, repeated acts causing death, and hiding of a corpse. It says McCree's death was determined to be a homicide. According to a criminal complaint, the accused and McCree, the accused person that committed this crime against McCree, the 5-year-old, lived in different areas of the same residence or house. On the morning McCree was reported missing, his mother kept him home from school with a cough and sore throat. The complaint says the child's mother last saw him around 9 a.m. when it says McCree wanted to go into the basement of the home to play video games. Investigators say a search of the home uncovered evidence related to McCree's death, which led to an interview of the 15-year-old and Petura. The complaint says Petura eventually told authorities he walked in on the 15-year-old teenager, choking the child, but did not intervene. It goes on to say the two bound and gagged the child, put the child's body in a garbage bag, and continued to beat him repeatedly, at times using a barbell and taking turns hitting him with a golf club. During an interview with authorities, Petura told investigators the 15-year-old had talked for some time about wanting to kill someone. And this is a common theme. I'm seeing several cases where these teenage kids have all this balled up negative energy in them, and it's leading them to make decisions to commit homicides. And this is a very disturbing trend that I'm following on many of these true crime stories. He said the teenager never liked the 5-year-old McCree and had discussed wanting to kill him. Well, if he had been discussing it, why didn't anybody do anything about it? And evidently, McCree's mother couldn't have known anything about it. And where is McCree's father? There's way too many fatherless homes in many of these homes throughout our country. The complaint says surveillance video was recovered, appearing to show the two suspects with a white garbage bag walking through an alley in the 5400 block of Violet. The pair were allegedly captured walking up to the dumpster where the body of McCree was recovered. On Monday, a woman named Jackie drove by at a loss for words after a long pause. She said she can just pray is all you can do. Jackie does not know Prince's family, but her son was murdered last January. She told us, I feel for the mother, the siblings, whoever else is involved in this. It's just sad. Adding, for someone to do this to a kid, it is not something that you think another human being would do to a 5-year-old boy. But that location is not the only place where the 15-year-old defendant admitting to committing violent crimes. The 15-year-old defendant said 2 days prior he stabbed 3 people within an hour, all of them apparently random targets. This young man, the 15-year-old that did this to the 5-year-old kid, was just antsy about harming individuals. And I don't understand how nobody stopped it and reported him to the police before he harmed this young boy. Near 42nd and North, he ran up behind a man and stabbed him in the back. At 35th and Center, he stabbed a man in the shoulder from behind. Then he stabbed a woman in the back of the neck at a bus stop near Center and Sherman. To investigators, the 50-year-old defendant said he wanted to stab someone badly, and he admitted feeling a rush for stabbing each victim. 2 days later, he allegedly attacked and killed McCree. Prince's family members said on the phone that every day is getting worse and worse as they learn new information about his murder. They said his mother would not let people. She didn't trust around her children, and so she never saw this coming. Patura is due in court on Monday, and the 15-year-old is set for juvenile court in the near future. And this took place at the end of last year, and it is a very, very terrible situation for this 5-year-old Milwaukee kid. And this teenager definitely had demonic forces in him, and that other person, the adult who helped perpetrate this crime, is just as diabolic and deserves to spend the rest of their lives in prison. Mental illness is a real issue. I keep saying this in all of my videos. The opioid crisis is a real issue. And no matter how young or old you are, even these young teenagers are going through quite a bit. There are too many fatherless homes. This technology and these phones and computers, everything is at a push of a button that has replaced us as parents. And you can get all the negative commentary that you want as a preteen, teenager, and as a young adult. And I think that sometimes this stuff can be a little bit confusing. Even some of the video games that they play that have a heavy preponderance of violence and murder in them. And I think that some of these kids do not understand that there is a fine line between life and death. And there is an absence in understanding humanity and the human spirit and being positive. This 15-year-old boy needs all the therapy in the world. McCree's mother and his siblings and family will also need all the therapy in the world. This is the most traumatic situation you could ever think of. But you're seeing a heavy trend with young teenagers that are going into schools and shooting up schools and not understanding conflict resolution or how to deal with negative feelings and negative responses to things that are taking place in life, and are reacting in a very dangerous and arbitrary way. So this took place in Milwaukee, 5-year-old kid, and there is an adult and a 15-year-old charged with this crime. Tell me what you think.